Hello, voices. I'm Joe Troy, and welcome to our VoiceOver's audio adventure, a bi-weekly podcast where we talk voiceover, audio, and everything in between. My guest today is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu purple belt, former MMA fighter, mental health advocate, DJ, producer, and last but not least, audio erotica voice actor. Let that sink in. Those alone tell you that this episode is going to be a good one. Please welcome to the pod, Ryan Mares. Hello, sir.
Hey, Joe. Thanks for having me, mate. What an intro.
I try. Yeah. Thank you for joining me today. I've been following your journey online, as a lot of people have, and I just wanted to pick your brain to talk about something that people are aware of, but not a lot of people want to talk about it. You know, the audio erotica space and how it works and, just everything about it, really. But as everyone does, they have their origin story. So you are a man of many talents, as the intro says. So how did you get into voice acting, first and foremost, and then obviously audio erotica?
Yeah, so literally it's all been such a crazy journey, like by chance, really. I started making TikToks a good 3.5 years ago or so for a bit of a creative outlet, for a bit of a laugh, which ironically I wasn't talking in any of them. They were more just like, they were like more like stitches and comedy skits. And then I started to talk in some of them. And then very early on, very quickly, sort of a certain community of the book talk community stumbled across my audios and were very intrigued. I had no idea that people were into voices or things like that. So they would request me to say stuff. Some were more like just character based, and some were more spicy leaning.
Yeah.
And the videos just started to kind of take off and go viral. And then that's when the audio erotica platform started to kind of catch wind of me and start reaching out. But to be honest, I was so new to it all that I was turning it down. I was like, that's not a bit. I was like, I don't think this is a bit of me.
Yeah.
I was working full time in like kind of corporate and recruitment and employer brand marketing.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I'm good, thank you. And then a bit of fate, I kind of got made redundant just as things were getting more and more popular. And I was like, do you know what? This is the time to jump. Like, let's just go for it. And I'm very, very grateful. But such a strange ride.
Had you done any kind of training or any type of voice work before that? Like, or literally where you just, here's some scripts, go ahead?
So I think no formal training. So I did drama in school. I got a B in GCSE drama, and ironically, I hit a crossroads in like year 10 where like I was better at drama than I was sport. But I decided to go down the sport route, which is what I ended up, getting a degree in. And like, it was such an important journey and it was a passion of mine. But it's just very surreal how it all kind of comes back full circle. And I got kind of a second chance, it feels like, to go back to like the performing arts and the drama. But I always did, since a really young kid, I've always done like impressions and different voices, but I just never knew it was even a possibility that would be an impact on a career or a livelihood.
Yeah. And how did your friends and family take to it when you were like, oh, this is what I'm doing now and I'm making a living out of it? Because I guess that's what the block is for most people. It's like, how do the world perceive me? I know that what I'm doing is, whatever, but I'm not hurting anyone. But it's what they think of you. How did that affect you and what did they say?
So it's been like pretty positive, to be honest. Like I don't get I'll get the odd kind of rogue comment and stuff, but like, no, they kind of, as long as I'm happy and they see that I'm doing well, then they're buzzing for me. And I think, they know that I've literally tried everything in terms of like trying to find like a fulfilling career, and we all want that, and it kind of crosses over with like my mental health advocacy as well, in terms of like women's wellness and pleasure and well-being. So that it kind of, there's a lot of crossover. Nice. And I'm just, it kind of ticks so many boxes for me. And I think as long as they see that I'm happy and like doing well, then they're like, sweet. Like, and the guys are funny, like they're always like, they kind of obviously joke like, no way, and I'm like, they're like, yeah. And you get it a lot where my mates will be like, oh, guess what he does, and it's like it's like, chill. Just chill out, boys.
Do you know what's funny about that? It's kind of that space where if you know what you do, how do you know what I do? Like, do you listen to it? No. Like, it's kind of like one of those elephant in the rooms for a lot of people. They're probably like, oh, is that the guy that? Oh, that must be hilarious. That must be hilarious. What surprised you most when you started in this niche?
The need and the impact of it. I think I couldn't. It's so fulfilling seeing like the impact and like just that need that there's such a market for it, such a niche market, and like obviously women have been typically oppressed in that field or shamed, and it's so nice to see like safe spaces kind of growing for them, and having that safe space to explore, and like being a contributor to that, and having the responsibility to kind of write the content, perform the content, is just like, I say, it's just a real range of fulfillment, and I feel so lucky, and it's been such a big learning lesson for me as a guy, learning the female gaze and understanding their experiences in more detail, and just how rough it is out there for women in particular. So it's just been a real life learning journey as well as like a career change.
Would you say that the majority of your listeners are women?
Yes, I have predominantly women. I know I have there are like gay guys that are kind of engaged on social media and on Quinn and stuff. There's a lot more, definitely seeing a lot more requests for kind of like M for M content and asexual content. So there is a kind of a range of demographic, but definitely more women.
And what does your recording look like, or how do you prepare for a recording? Like, do you write the script yourself? Do you get scripts sent to you? Do you have to edit? Like, run me through your process.
Yes, so I write all mine myself. Every kind of creator is different. Some collab with writers, and initially I didn't really want to do so much writing, but like I've learned to like really love it, and I kind of take quite a lot of control over that now. I don't typically collab with writers because I feel like it just adds to the connection and the impact of the work, but everyone works differently. I'm actually like very chaotic in terms of I leave things quite lastminute.com.
Yeah.
I like, in terms of recording, I think ever since like school and uni, like I need that pressure of like the deadline is right there. Okay. I don't know why, but I need to change that. I'm hoping.
Do you know, if it works for you, it works for you. I think you're so far in now, it's like,
if it works, it works. But exactly. There's definitely times where it's kind of shot myself in the foot, but I'm kind of getting there. And like all the editing and stuff I'm doing myself, that's probably been a massive learning curve for me. I think there's a lot of great VAs out there across all industries that are just such talented, like sound engineers as well. And I've got zero experience in that. So like me, that's been a journey. But I'm learning to love that. That's probably the bit that I struggle with the most. But world building and seeing the impact of world building, there's been a few audios recently where like I've committed a lot more time to the edit, and like just noticing those small differences is really good. And there's such great VAs out there that you listen to their stuff and you're like, wow, I really need to step up because that's a different level. Like so it's always evolving. I love that. I love anything with that where it's kind of continuous learning and there's never perfection. Like I love stuff like that.
With the audio editing side of things, did you get grace in terms of, I'm not great at it, I can get better? Or was it a thing where you had to be like at a certain level? Like, how did the platform help you?
Yeah, so the platform offers, like, Quinn themselves offer like support with like sound engineering, like advice and tutorials, which is great. But at the start, I kind of learned from just like reviewing my stats. You know, I'm very like, I think a lot of us are, but like, I'm very hard on myself, and I'm like very driven. So like, when I don't see something doing well, I'm very curious to know. I get fuming. I'm like, I want to know why I'm not kind of doing good. So like, I start to like unpack the data, and I'm like, well, why is this so far behind, or like, what am I doing wrong? And kind of taking accountability of that. And I kind of was like, right, putting polls out to my audience, like, where am I lacking? Like, what do you think I should be improving on?
You're just literally just putting yourself out there, like, just berate me. Let's go for it.
Yeah, I'm like, it's the best way of learning. Some people can be quite harsh, but some people are, you know, their heart's in the right place, and they can see that you're looking to, you're kind of passionate about it. So yeah, I think it's a good way to be. But yeah, you got to, I'm not very thick skinned, to be honest, so I've got to be careful sometimes when I do that.
So obviously you've got your script, you're ready to go. Now, what techniques are you using to create intimacy when you're recording?
So it's a very, audio erotica is obviously, I've done audio erotica before I did any kind of audiobooks style or narration style, and it's very different style because it's in second person.
Okay.
So very immersive, very like almost direct to listener vibes, and very unique in the sense that a lot of the stuff I do is written, but it's also improv. So you're kind of leaving things open ended for responses, but you have to leave it vague enough where you're steering the conversation how you think the listener will take it, if that makes sense. It's very Inception. But like specific enough where you can steer them where you want them to be, in the direction you want the script to go. So it's a really interesting balance, and something that I wasn't used to, and I think a lot of people that come over to do it is a challenge. But you know, once you find a flow and you do it for a few scripts and stuff, you do find the flow, and it's learning not to be too like, I ask a question and then I kind of half answer it in my response.
Yeah.
So it kind of, you're leaving a lot to the listener's imagination rather than you know, that bit of a complex autonomy, I guess.
And how important would you say, like, the pacing in terms of breath control and stuff like that? Do they play a big part in what you do, and just understanding how your voice can manipulate others in terms of feelings and emotions?
Definitely, yeah. Again, it's the subtleties that I think have the biggest impact in the work. Yeah. Like, if it feels rushed or an unnatural flow, then that conversation kind of loses its flow itself. And yeah, like, even by collaborating with other creators, I've kind of learned just how much of a difference that extra millisecond of gap can have between like your response and giving the listener time. And it's really eye-opening. And even with, like, let's say, the sound engineering and the world building, the timing of an effect coming in, and the bringing that emotion in, or if you bring a bit of music in, it's been a game changer. So yeah.
It's a lot to take in, actually, because there's a lot more to it than I would assume a lot of people would imagine. Because obviously people are thinking they're just making, you know, sex noises and breathing heavy noise. But it's like, no, it's like there's a lot to it. And, you know, I guess that's with any voice niche, you know, involve different skills and to excel in?
Yeah, I think that's been people's shock. You see, I get a lot of people that say they want to kind of give it a go, and I kind of want to post some content soon about, okay, but like you need to understand that it's a much more complex beast than you anticipate, and everyone thinks like, oh, it's just saying like good girl or just all this, the standards, the standard things that everyone wants to hear, but it's like, well, can you actually do that every week in a different script, different characters? Can you say it in different ways? Can you involve different tropes? Can you do that? Can you do that consistently? And that's, for me, I think the biggest thing for people to understand is like it's the consistency and the variation you have to bring with it.
In terms of your fans and yourself personally, what are your fans responding to best? What's your thing?
So I predominantly the ones that do seem to do best are like the M-Dom, kind of rougher, dominating type audios, but like more so like it seems to be more like in the relationship context. So there's that safety. I think, most listeners do, they like that bit of risk, let's say, but like the safety blanket of being in a relationship and being with a partner seems to resonate well with lots of people. And then like a lot of the ramble type stuff, so that's a bit more like direct to listener, bit more like guided masturbation type stuff. So yeah, that seems to be my thing.
Yeah,
which is
because
it's
obviously
funny to think you have a thing.
It can be from the the most innocent audio erotica to full on, like whatever that may be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's such a range. There's like, and that's what's so great about Quinn in particular, because like there's so many creators and everyone's got a different voice that suits different scenarios, or they've got a different style of writing, or they have a specific niche. So like, some creators are like incredible at M-Sub, or they're incredible at they're like the boyfriend audios or comfort audios. Like there's so much range, and there's something for everyone. So it's quite fun that if you're a listener and there's something that you want, there's someone for you.
What's a definite no for you in terms of if somebody gave you a script or content to act? What is a definite no that you wouldn't do?
I tried. I don't think I've ever done, and I don't think I will do like anything like infidelity based. I kind of understand that for some people that is like a bit of a rush or a fantasy, but for me it's just not my personal cup of tea. I did do like a script a couple of Halloweens ago where I kind of found a bit of a leeway with like a Halloween script. So it was cool. Instead of the Purge or Purge Night, I called it Urge Night. And it basically involved like an ethical non-monogamy type scenario, or like a hall pass type scenario, with like a threesome. So like that was like the only time I kind of had a bit of leniency, because it wasn't technically infidelity, but like it's just like, say, everyone's got their own thing, and I understand that everyone's got different fantasies and they like certain things. But I think that's also great about having the autonomy as a creator, is if you don't want to do certain stuff, you don't have to. You don't have to feel the pressure of the audience or anything like that. People understand that you're a creator yourself.
How do you separate your personal relationships from your on mic persona? Do you feel like you're two different people?
It's a very good question. Do you know what? It is interesting, and it's like, because I'm naturally like quite a spicy guy, which helps with the work, and there is obviously a need for like that separation, and like it's important to have that separation. But Yeah, it is different. Like obviously in the audios, there's a lot of, it's acting, it's, you know, you're playing characters that feel realistic. So it's finding that sweet spot and that balance. But it is like a new thing to explore, because I think if you kind of get it a bit muddled, it can definitely screw with your head a bit and be a bit confusing. But you know, I think people think that in personal life that you're going to be like extra performative and all this, but
hey, can you pass me the chips over there? I'm hungry, babes. See that?
Actually, but no, yeah, it's just understanding, like, yeah, it's a job. Do you know what I mean?
Now, I understand that some people use pseudonyms, will hide their identity. You choose not to. Now, what I kind of will understand that you got into this the backward way, so your face was already out there, but you could have changed your name. So if you could start again, would you hide your face? And secondly, how do you find the interaction online with your listeners?
Yeah, another really good question, because it's such an interesting, because the anonymous creators are very popular for the fantasy and the, you know, the imagination side of things. But for me, my personal brand on social media has always been like transparency and kind of open book, and like, yeah, kind of owning that. And I didn't want to kind of shy away from that. And yeah, on the most part, it works kind of well. It's quite funny when you have two sides of the coin, where you've had some people where like I'll pop up on their TikTok and they're like, oh, I didn't want to see the face behind it. And then there's some people are like, oh, okay, like this could work for me. So it's interesting that everyone has a preference, and yeah, I can understand why people are anonymous and they want that privacy. And you know, the being public facing can be, you know, intense and intimidating, but again, I'm learning to set kind of stricter boundaries and kind of protecting my well-being. And I think my community and the audiences of the industry, because it's still such a niche and new industry, are learning that as well. They're kind of learning themselves, okay, we need to breathe.
Yeah. What do those boundaries look like for you?
Yeah, so it's just like keeping like a safe distance with your interactions, like not engaging kind of directly per se, like, and just like certain like requests, like, yeah, like it's
you get a lot of personal requests, would you say, or do you have to literally say from the outset, no, none of this isn't this kind of party, this is what I do, take it away?
It's similar to stuff like that. Yeah, it's just people wanting your time and attention, or you know, there's the, obviously, because the audios feel so personable, the parasocial kind of behaviors can kind of bleed through or can start to kind of grow. And you know, I think that's common across any kind of industry where there's intimacy, or you know, like that sexual kind of tone to it, of course. So you know, we all kind of understand, and we kind of all protect ourselves, and yeah, that's been again quite a new experience. I've always been quite as I say, an open book. I've always been quite engaged with like any audience from my mental health stuff, and like I'll chat to people in like DMs and stuff. And then now it's like, yeah, you can't be doing that, because as I say, that if that parasocial dynamic's there, then it's just not really appropriate on both sides. So yeah, just like things like that. So massive learning for things like that, and just changing my approach to how I deal with content and social media now, which is strange, as I say, because I've been trying to build an audience for like 10 years, and then I got my break per se, and now it's like, okay, now I need to handle things differently to I'm used to, which is still positive.
You do a lot of advocacy for mental health, and you're involved in a lot of other things. Do you feel like your online presence has helped or hindered those ventures?
I think it's helped. As I say, I've always wanted a platform to have. I've been sharing like the same narratives for years, and now I have a platform. It's great, and I see the impact, and people send really nice messages about how content about sobriety or mental health or bipolar is helping them. Or, you know, I've typically always been more like a men's mental health advocate, so like I have noticed, like, with my audience growing to more women focused, I've not lost that reach, but like I look more. I joke always about I look more performative now because I look like I'm just trying to impress women. But like, it's also nice to see the messages where people talk about their partners or their sons or their nephews, and it's still reaching them via that route. So that's like, I love that. That's super fulfilling. So yeah, again, it's just been such a unique thing to navigate, with so many kind of complex jigsaw pieces.
Yeah, I can imagine. In terms of acting side of thing, would you say it's a very male-dominated industry, or is there a lot of women in there as well? Well, in terms of acting,
there's definitely a lot of women creators. It's still probably more men dominated in terms of the minute, but definitely seeing a rise in more kind of female creators and non-binary creators. But it would be great to see, you know, obviously always great to see more. But again, I think it'd be interesting to know with audio erotica compared to traditional corn, like, is there, I feel like I'm, as a man, especially like a straight white guy, like, I'm super privileged in terms of, like, I understand that I'm the least stigmatized. Like, I'm not going to get as much online backlash as other people. So I can understand that even this industry, I'm like, I'd be interested to know, like, is there still backlash for lots of women in that, and shame? Because yeah, this is a safe. The whole industry is built off of change and safety, and trying to steer away from those traditional porn kind of behaviors and tradition. Like, we all want to feel and be safe, and I think it's great to see more measures being put in place for that, and everyone's well-being, including, you know, sex workers or audio erotica creators, because it's super important, and everyone deserves to feel kind of safe and happy in their work.
What does the industry look like in terms of, is there a lot of companies that produce this kind of work? Are you allowed to work with other people? Can you have your own staff, like a Patreon or whatever? Like, how, if somebody was listening to this and was like, I want to get into this line of work, how would they?
To be fair, there's a few kind of key core apps that kind of do it, but a lot of people start kind of with, like, say, my route via TikTok was very kind of, it was crazy, but I know that some people are very popular via routes like Reddit.
Okay.
Some people have their own Patreons, and I think that's what's good as a freelancer, and having that freedom, as you can. There are different ways of doing it and building that audience, but it's, yeah, as I say, I kind of did a very backwards route, so sometimes I find it hard to comment on. I feel bad, like, when I get a lot of DMs where people are like, how do I get into this? And I'm like, I feel like I can't. I feel like, again, I feel so privileged and fortunate in how I've kind of just like landed on my feet. So like, but it is good to see, as the the industry grows, there seems to be more pathways and more interest in it. But as I say, I think once people understand that it's a bit more complex, if they still have that ambition and drive, then at least try it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you get to collaborate or even like meet your peers?
Yeah. If people are comfortable too. Some people do like to just be in the shadows.
Yeah.
For their safety. But yeah, I've met up with a lot of the Quinn creators in particular. So we've done like some more so the public creators, but we've like done meetups and hung out and, you know, you bounce ideas. And I think it's really important to do that, because you're in such a niche position, and people, as I say, with the challenges of managing social media, and how if you've never had like a community before, an audience before, then that can mess with your head, and like how to navigate it. So like having people that are going through the same thing to kind of make you feel like you're not alone, and share ideas, or whether it's creative ideas or things like that, I think it's really helpful. Everyone's super busy, so it's not a regular thing, but I think it must be the same in kind of more traditional VA work, where hopefully you get to meet up and hang out with people.
Have you wanted to do other types of voiceover or voice acting?
Yeah, so it's definitely a goal. My personality, as you've seen from spinning multiple places, I want to try everything.
Yeah.
I want to do a bit of everything. So I've done a couple of audiobooks now.
Okay.
I want to venture into more kind of commercial type stuff, as just to try and you know, do some auditions and just build a bit of a voice reel, and as I say, just try a bit of everything. Like, I think go for it, like challenge myself as a creative. And yeah.
What about writing? Because you do that anyway. You know, you could write any scripts, books, whatever, if that's your thing, you know?
Yeah. It's that again, it's a goal. I want to try a bit of both again. Like I want to write some kind of non-fiction on like masculinity, like modern masculinity. And again, getting the insight from this line of work as well, and learning experiences will be a massive help for that, as well as my own experiences. And then, fiction would be a fun challenge, especially in the romance space. So we'll see, but it's I need to kind of not get too excited and stretch myself too thin, because as you can see,
you know what? I do that all the time. I'm like, just jump in the deep end and you sink or swim, and so far it's worked out for me. So
amazing.
You know, just gotta make it work, you know.
Exactly. Especially with podcasts are grafts of respect, because I've tried launching like 3 in the past, and I've never stayed consistent. So kudos to you, man.
Do you know what it is though? With any project that you take on, I think it needs to be a passion, and it needs to be something that you enjoy doing. As cheesy as that sounds, because I don't think, for example, a musician will start making music because they want to make money, or you even wanted to be in the MMA, or because you wanted to make money. It's like there was something that you had an itch, and you wanted to itch that, and that's what you did. And from it, hopefully, you know, you continue to be successful, and money will come. And if it doesn't, then you have to think about, shall I carry on doing this when you need to pay bills? But I think for the most part, if you enjoy it, which you seem like you are, you don't have to second guess it, you know.
Exactly. And you see that it's definitely important, and passion leads, and like say the money making's definitely the bonus, but like say you get to that crossroads, you're like
exactly. I've been doing it for 5 years now. I need to pay bills. Exactly. All right, we're wrapping up soon, but for someone that's listening, you know, to some of your content, apart from the obvious, what do you want them to take away from what they've heard?
I think just that feeling of comfort and safety, and just that real, like, the things they maybe have been like neglected by in previous experiences. Like, so I try, and a lot of my stuff and audios I kind of write as almost like as lessons of like memoirs to myself of like things I've done wrong and like try to like change. So like I've done a series called like Talking It Through, and it's basically a new couple, and it's very like patient, intimate, a lot of communication, a lot of kind of, as I say, patience with each other, and kind of just helping each other as a couple learn and enjoy new experiences, rather than kind of like, yeah, just old school, traditional, like it's rushed. It's not about the women's pleasure. It's about, you know, the man's pleasure, and just kind of rewriting that narrative and experience. And it's kind of nice, well, sad, but also nice to hear that it's healing for some people. Kind of just, as I say, just trying to reshape the narratives that are already out there, and focus on the female gaze. So yeah, making women feel seen, I think, is super important.
I love that. Okay, we're at the end, but I've got some quick fire questions that I want to throw at you.
Sweet,
and I want
pressure.
You to okay, I always say this because I always say quick fire, but it always turns into another half an hour conversation. So no pressure. Whatever comes out, comes out. Okay. Do you ever laugh during recordings?
Yeah. There's definitely a few broken characters.
Okay. Morning voice or midnight voice?
Morning voice.
Okay. Slow burn or instant spark?
That's a good one. Instant spark.
Okay.
People will be like, what? Yeah, people are like, what? Like, yeah.
They'll go and look at your content. It's literally like 5 second, what's it called? Scripted perfection or improvisation magic?
Improvisation magic.
Headphones on or speakers out loud?
Headphones on.
Okay. What's a blooper moment you can share?
There are just times when I'm improvising where like I'm just going with the flow, trying to be in the moment, and I'll just say something. I don't really know anything specific, and you'll just say something that's so unsexy, and you just say you have a bit of a belly laugh, and you have a bit of a swear to yourself, and you have to delete it straight away because you're like, this can never go out.
I could imagine that actually. Like you're in the moment, you're trying to get yourself in the scene, and then in your mind it probably sounds so like on point, and then you say it. And it's like, what are you doing? It's like that moment where you just look at you like, what are you doing? Like,
it's like the In-Betweeners, where Simon's on the bed with his girlfriend, and she's like, "Oh, talk dirty to me," and it's just like a teenager being like, It's literally
hilarious. Okay, one word that describes your voice.
Ooh, gravel.
All right. And if you weren't doing this, what would you be doing?
Probably still be in corporate. It is, man. I could never go back. Please don't let me go back.
That's the biggest fear for all of us freelancers.
Yeah.
We don't want to go back. Don't take us back.
Please listen to us.
Oh, man. Well, Ryan, honestly, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. I feel you have made this subject very digestible, and it's definitely going to make a lot of people feel like they can do it as well, and also just consume it and don't feel weird about doing it,
Absolutely.
So thank you for that. I will obviously put all your courses that you're speaking on and everything that you're doing in the links, but I just want to say thank you again, and thank you for taking time out, and hopefully we get to meet one day and hang out and chat out for real. But
absolutely,
thank you for that. Thank you
for having me, mate.
Definitely. And everyone listening, thank you for listening. If you're watching, please subscribe. I need some subscribers on YouTube. And until next time, bye-bye.